Yeah, I mean, I use like a smaller container for like, especially if I'm just dipping some small frags or something. A small container like a solo cup or just some kind of Tupperware works really well. So you don't have to use like a bigger container. Use more of a dosage. I mean, it's really simple. Just use a small dosage with those, and it makes life easy. So convenient.
What's up, Reef Fanatics? Welcome to another episode of the Coral Reef Talk podcast. In today's episode, we're talking about items that you use around your reef aquarium that are not necessarily made for the aquarium hobby. What's up, Levi? How are you doing today?
How's it going? I'm doing good.
With the holidays out of the way, I mean, Christmas is over, New Year's, it's here. How was your vacation? How was the holidays?
It was good. Lots of fun. I mean, it was a little bit chaotic because, we never really got to stop. Because for all of you that don't know, I live in Florida now and I used to live in Michigan. So for the holidays, I usually travel back for like a week up to Michigan and spend some time with family during Christmas. So it's always like, it's a fun time, but it's also very tiring. So it's good to be back. It's good to try to get back in a routine, try to refresh some things, restart some things, and get things going. So
yeah, for sure. And with all the traveling and stuff, how are the tanks doing?
tanks are doing good. I came back. I had one of my buddies watch them, and they look great.
Nice. We flew up to South Carolina for a few days, and same thing. I had a friend come over, just make sure the tanks were topped off, the fish were fed, and everything was fine.
Nice. It's awesome.
So today we're talking about items that we use pretty much all the time around our reef aquariums, but they were not necessarily made for the reef hobby, or it's not like a protein skimmer or like a reactor that is, this is an aquarium product. These are items that us as reef hobbyists use all the time, and they're just ordinary items, and there are a lot of them.
Yeah, when you first mentioned this topic to me, I really, for some reason, it just stumped my brain. I'm like, it was hard to think of. And then yesterday afternoon, I was scrubbing one of my wave makers with a toothbrush, and then it popped in my head. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm literally using something that isn't meant for a reef tank. And so, yeah. And then I brainstormed some other ideas for this episode, and I realized that there's a lot of them.
Yeah, for sure. If you sit down and just like stare at your tank long enough or think about it long enough, you'll definitely come up with something. But since you brought up toothbrushes, let's start right there. So toothbrushes, I mean, it's a nice little brush that you can use if you're trying to scrub the rock work. That's what I've used it for. And it's like scrubbing off any nuisance algae and then siphoning it out. But yeah, cleaning pumps and stuff as well.
Yep. Yeah, that's usually what I use them for. Or like you said, if I get any like hair algae or just some nuisance algae on a rock, it's really easy to use a toothbrush because they're super stiff and it's easy to just scrub that algae right off.
Yeah, for sure. But definitely don't use the same toothbrush that you're brushing your teeth with, right? put this like with all your aquarium equipment.
Yeah, if you do, use your significant others and see how that goes for you.
Yeah, I don't see that.
I don't recommend that. Don't do it.
Yeah, don't do that.
Not end well.
Let's see. An item that I use quite often would be a solo cup. So when I'm dipping corals in Revive and then I'm rinsing them before I put them in the tank, I'll usually have a solo cup that I can kind of dip them, rinse them in the tank water, make sure I'm getting it out of the Revive solution, and then putting it in the tank. You can also just use it as a dipping container, right? Like if you have a coral that you're using a few drops of iodine or something, you can drip that in there, mix it up. But yeah, what other, do you use anything like this?
Yeah, I mean, I use like a smaller container for like, especially if I'm just dipping some small frags or something. A small container like a solo cup or just some kind of Tupperware works really well. So you don't have to use like a bigger container. Use more of a dosage. I mean, it's really simple. Just to use a small dosage with those, and it makes life easy. So convenient.
On Revive, it says use like 4 capfuls in a gallon. But if you don't want to pull out a gallon of water from your aquarium every time, you can lower the dosage and use a smaller cup like this for sure. And then you also brought up like Tupperware or a plastic container.
Yep.
These are great for inspecting corals, dipping corals, getting pests off of the corals like you see here. Many uses. Just again, don't put this back in your cabinet to put like your leftover meatloaf in or something. You don't want to be bringing your food to lunch in the same container you're dipping corals in. But yeah, there's so many different items that I didn't even, like, to your point, you really kind of have to sit back and think about what types of things that we use. A big one that a lot of reef keepers use, I would have to say, would be a 5-gallon bucket.
Definitely.
Right? This guy right here, you want to make sure you do it right.
Yeah.
Although it's not a sponsor. But yeah, I mean, 5-gallon buckets, water changes, acclimating fish, dipping large amounts of coral.
Yeah.
So many different uses.
Transporting livestock.
Yes, transporting livestock, moving stuff from aquarium to aquarium, not just livestock, but rocks, corals, everything.
Yeah, I think we did that recently between each other.
Yeah,
With a
that's
5-gallon
true.
bucket.
Yeah, you gave me a few rocks with a bunch of coral on them and stuff, and yeah, put them in a bucket, transferred them over. But yeah, what else? What are you thinking? What else you got for us?
So I got a couple different items. One that might be a little weird is a Qtip. So I use a Qtip. They're relatively cheap, and it's easy, especially if you're cleaning equipment and there's hard to get crevices or areas that you can't really get to with like a sponge in your hand. These make it easier to kind of get that algae off, especially if you're really like anal about things being super clean and pristine. You know, just getting those little specks of algae that are really hard to get in small crevices or small areas that you can't reach your hand through. Like even on like the pumps today and yesterday, I used a Q-tip to get like around the propeller and inside some of the like inside the cage, you know, just trying to make sure everything's nice and clean. Made it quite easy.
Yeah, that's true. That's one thing. I don't think I've used Q-tip, but that's very smart. That's easy way to get in between things.
And I mean, you can use like they make like, you know, brushes that you can like most people use like putting small pipes to clean the pipes.
Yes,
those
that's true.
work really well too.
Those
But
come in
I like
handy.
the Q-tip specifically though, because it's not just a bunch of little hairs. You know, just,
Yeah.
like you got to scrub multiple times. It's just like one quick swipe through it, and you're good.
Yep, nice disposable tool as well.
Yep.
And another tool that I like a lot is one of these guys right here. This one right here is made with aquariums in mind, but what I'm talking about is a turkey baster. And a turkey baster you can get at your local grocery store, pretty inexpensive too. So you can pick up one of these at pretty much any grocery store, and you can use that to broadcast feed your tank, or you can directly target feed fish or corals with it. So yeah, it's a great tool that we all use pretty much all the time, I would say.
Yeah, I literally every day, almost every time I'm looking at my tank feeding or something, like I have a turkey baster in my hand feeding the corals or the fish. So yeah, definitely widely used in the hobby.
Do you know what you would use a 2-liter bottle for?
Maybe building some kind of trap of some sort or something?
Yes. So you can use a 2-liter bottle as a trap. I'm going to have to throw up a clip of this, but basically you cut the top portion of the bottle or the 2-liter bottle off and invert it back into the bottle. And so when your fish comes in, it most likely can't swim back out because it gets confused.
Yep.
Pretty inexpensive fish trap. I've seen a lot of different fish traps on the market that cost a pretty penny, but 2-liter bottle works just fine. I mean, it may take some time. Your fish got to get used to that thing in your tank, but they also got to get used to other fish traps as well.
Yeah, definitely. So another item that I brought to the table that's, you know, might be a little different, but I know quite a few people that have used them, is a scalpel. For a lot of your like leather corals, even, especially like cabbage leather specifically, I use them on. Just slicing chunks out of the coral. I mean, they heal really quick and super easily. And they also, like, if you throw them like a rubble bin, they'll attach real quick. So a scalpel makes a clean cut, nice and clean, and it makes it real easy to frag some of your soft corals. And even like gorgonians, if I remove a gorgonian from a tank, I like lay them on a table with some type of like almost like a cutting board and go through and chop the little branches off. It just makes it easier, and for a clean cut, I mean, you can use scissors and stuff for the same type of reasoning, but a scalpel, especially with certain leather corals, makes it quite easy to make a frag. So
yeah, and to that point, I would add razor blades.
That too. Yeah,
I would imagine that is a big tool. I use those a lot for scraping coralline algae off the glass.
Yep.
Whenever a flipper magnet scraper becomes worn or something, or you have to get to like the really tight edges and corners, good old razor blade does the trick.
Definitely.
So I think we've touched on quite a bit, but we do have a few more to go. But now I'm super excited. We have to present the winner of the Reef Nutrition $200 e-gift card. Biggest giveaway that we've had here on the podcast. So I don't know, Levi, are you ready to give away $200?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. So here we go. I've added the names of everyone who has been entered into this up until this point. So everyone is here on this wheel. I just have to find the right tab here and then we can spin it. Let's see.
Someone's going to be real happy.
Absolutely. So, all right, I've found the tab. I'm ready to click spin.
Do it.
Levi, are you ready? Drum roll,
Yes.
drum roll. And let's see, click to spin. Here we go. All right, I think we got our winner, and the winner is JLS_EN9YE. So, JLS, we will be in contact with you. Congratulations, JLS, for winning $200 gift card, Reef Nutrition.
Yes.
You can get anything you want in there. I mean, Mises Feast, Fido Feast. Yeah, that'll get you quite a bit of food, I would imagine.
So, heck yeah.
Awesome. So we've been over Tupperware for your Reef Aquarium. We've touched on scalpels. We've touched on toothbrushes, some pretty interesting tools that we use in the reefing community. Some 5-gallon buckets, obviously, turkey base. But what about, I don't think I have a slide for it, but I have it in my hand. What about super glue, Levi?
Ooh, that's like probably one of the most important ones.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you're,
that is.
yeah, if you're doing corals. And
Oh yeah.
now, I've always used the gel super glue, and I made sure it had like the cyanoacrylate inside of it as one of the ingredients. But that comes in handy whenever you're trying to glue corals down to frag plugs to the rock work.
Definitely makes life a little easier.
Yes, a lot easier.
Yeah, I know. Like a lot of people that use like the epoxy putty or whatever.
Mhm.
I've tried that before, and I'm like, I don't know. I just don't like it as much. Like I think some people like it because it matches their rock work or whatever. And I mean, maybe you like it because it like cements itself in maybe a little better. But I've never.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I've liked super glue. It's a lot easier to work with, I feel like, and it's less work, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty inexpensive. It's everywhere, hardware stores, grocery stores, and you don't necessarily have to purchase a Coral branded glue. Super glue works just fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I noticed in the clip before that I was having trouble getting that glue out, but you can see it come out now. I think I was at the bottom of the bottle there when I was trying to put this frag on. But yeah, and to that point, how about these nitrile gloves here?
Yeah, those come in handy, especially when you're working with like zoanthids, paleozoas, and even certain leather corals and stuff.
Yeah, and I buy like a box of 100 of these things, and you can get those on Amazon. And in fact, I believe everything that we're going to be talking about or everything that we have shared, I'll have a link to Amazon for you. So if you haven't used any of these products, I recommend using them around your reef tank. They come in handy.
Yeah, definitely.
We cannot forget to thank our channel sponsor in today's episode. And our sponsor, of course, is Printed Reef. So if you're looking for 3D printed products for your reef aquarium, like a mushroom cage to help your mushroom coral adhere to a frag plug or to keep them safe in your reef tank, or some coral sand stands, Printed Reef has what you need. Check out this hammer coral right here on a Printed Reef sand stand, looking awesome in the aquarium. So if you're looking for 3D printed products, go to printedreef.com/TheCoralReefTalk, and you can save 10% off your entire order by using the code TheCoralReefTalk at checkout.
Definitely go do that. You got some nice products.
Another obvious one, I think, would have to be like some towels.
Yep.
Right? I mean, it's pretty obvious that you need some towels. What is this one? A reef to reef towel, I think. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, nice.
But it doesn't have to be reef to reef. It's just a regular towel. That's all you need.
Yeah, I use towels quite a bit, especially like if you're doing a water change or have your hand in a tank, scrubbing on the tank. You know, I just try to have one handy right there, just so you don't make a big mess or whatever, get water everywhere. Comes in handy.
For sure. Yeah, and they make those. I have a Cobalt Aquatics aquarium mat, but I mean, if you don't have a mat like that, just simple towel works just fine. And then I had this here too. Like you see these kind of buckets as well, or these kind of jugs for the aquarium. And if you're new to the hobby and you're getting your water from like a local fish store, you're bringing it home in something like this.
Yep.
That way you have a lid to keep it when you're transporting it from the local fish store. But yeah, so again, buckets are very important. Let's see, what else do we have?
How about a shot glass? Now, I know you mentioned red Solo cups, and those work great, but I use shot glasses specifically for like feeding like certain tanks. I got a couple bigger tanks, the 75, the like 45, and the 35. And for each tank, I have its own shot glass. I do a little mixture of like, reef nutrition, some powdered foods for the corals, and sometimes some frozen. Just get a good mixture and some diversity for the fish and the corals. Just to feed on, and it makes life a little easier. You don't have to use a big like cup or whatever, and I mean you can totally fine, but a little shot glass I feel like is almost the perfect amount of water and food for my tanks, and I can kind of just pick and choose what I put in there for each tank, and it makes it easy. So
yeah, definitely that is a good one. The shot glass is the right kind of small size that you need.
yeah.
So perfect. So Levi, what else comes to mind after talking about all of these products for reef aquariums or ordinary products used with reef aquariums?
I mean, it's just a lot of things. I mean, there's even things that we like. There's plenty of things that we haven't mentioned. That just like that we might not even think of that we use every single day with our reef tanks. Like I use flashlights at night. I like to sit like by my tank and shine a light in there and kind of see what's going on. I got a lot of critters that come out at night, like the serpent stars and some other cool critters. And there's so many different things like carbon. Like there's a lot of different things that weren't originally meant for the aquarium that we use constantly, like all the time. So I think it's pretty cool just to see everyday ordinary items just kind of play a role in the hobby, especially like big roles. I mean, it's pretty unique and pretty cool. So this hobby is just so diverse, and there's just so much that can go on in the hobby. It's just amazing. It baffles me.
Yeah, and if you can think of something that we haven't mentioned, or there's something that you use in your reef aquarium, share it down in the comments below.
Let us know.
Yeah, sharing that information will help other reef keepers with their tanks, and maybe they'll find an ordinary item that works better for them because you shared that in the comments, and now you're helping someone have more success with their reef aquarium.
Absolutely.
So I hope you enjoyed this episode today, talking about ordinary products that we use in the reef keeping hobby. If you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button. And if you want to check out another video, I have one that will pop up somewhere here for you to click or tap the screen. Watch that one next. And we'll see you next time on the Coral Reef Talk podcast.
See you guys.